optimizing your e-commerce website with basic analytics and an educated guess is like throwing a dart while blindfolded and expecting to hit a bullseye. A few may succeed, but most end up missing the dartboard altogether. Want to hit that conversion bullseye? Take off the blindfold and see your website through the eyes of your visitors. Luxurious Wedding Accessories is a Wix website that sells beautiful wedding accessories that then become beautiful home decor. Though there's never a shortage of engaged couples, Luxurious Wedding Accessories wants to find ways to improve their website and to boost sales. I'm Angie with Lucky Orange, and I'm going to use visitor behavior to see what those first-time visitors experience. I'll spot areas with potential pain points on luxuriousweddingaccessories.com and then evaluate what I find with dynamic heat maps and the dashboard. Let's head to the website to get started. Here we are. Oh, there's a pop-up. There's a lot on this pop-up that isn't necessary. What's LWA? Why do I need to give you my email address? Remember that this only shows to first-time visitors. And since this is the first thing that they see, they're not sure they even want to become a customer yet, not to mention give you their email address. You can also find this information regarding whether they're a new or returning visitor without asking them. You can find the information in session recordings. Now, about this pop-up, we'll see in a few moments from Dynamic Heat Maps how people are really using it. Now, clicking out of that, now we're officially on the home page. I like that your product line answers the age-old question of what you do with your wedding decorations and accessories after you get married. However, for your website, I noticed 5 things. 1, there are inconsistencies with your branding. The logo on the left is for luxurious wedding accessories, decor, and home accents. But the hero image here just shows luxurious home accents. Speaking of your hero image, I don't know what this image is for. It looks like jewelry, but you don't sell jewelry. It also is lacking a call to action button. 3, it looks like you've put an emphasis on designing your website just for mobile traffic. I can tell by the way your page displays on desktop view. Your hero image is off center, and there's a large empty space to the right. Your main navigation is on the side, which is where I suspect you use a hamburger menu for your mobile visitors. Through Wix's website editor, you can customize how your site looks on mobile without changing how it looks on desktop. Number 4, I'm scrolling and I see that all of your products appear to be listed on your homepage. That makes it difficult for people to browse and find any collection or products they're interested in buying. 5, your main navigation is just too overloaded. There are too many options here. There's some great content, but it's simply far too heavy for effective navigation. As we turn to visitor behavior to evaluate these initial impressions, I'm going to be paying close attention to how people scroll and use your navigation and if that changes based on their device. Overall, we're trying to answer the question, how can we make the visitor experience better? To start, we're going to head over to session recordings where I'm going to show you where to access that visit information. Session recordings act like a DVR for your website, capturing everything a visitor did while on your site. Right now, we're looking at all of the visitors who have come to your website. Over here on the right, you have a column for number of visits. This tells you if they're a first-time visitor or a return visitor. There's no need to ask visitors directly for this information because you can get it in other ways. And those other ways don't distract the visitor from converting. Now, speaking of the pop-up, I have a hunch that most visitors who see your pop-up immediately click out of it. Let's go to Dynamic Heat Maps to find out. Now we're on Lucky Orange Dynamic Heat Maps, which show you where people click and how far they scroll on a web page. We're looking at a click heat map. The brighter the color, the more clicks the element has received. As we expected, everyone is clicking out of your form. Your visitors are frustrated by it because they just want to see your products. And you're frustrated because you want to grow your contact list, but no one's engaging. I would just remove the form completely. If you want to still collect email addresses, run it as a poll instead. Polls are included in your Lucky Orange subscription, and they let you customize your poll to launch on specific pages, after someone scrolled, or even base it on their behaviors. Polls are going to be less invasive and triggered for just those visitors who are already engaged with your website. Before we move back into the dynamic heat map to analyze the homepage, we need to take a step into the Lucky Orange dashboard, which acts like a mission control center for your website, to evaluate where your traffic is coming from. Let's go find out. Here is the Lucky Orange dashboard. You can access it through the dashboard tab, or it'll also be the first page you see when you log into your Lucky Orange account. Right now we're looking at data over the last 30 days, but we're going to scroll down here to look at this widget box right here. As we look at the numbers, just over half of the traffic to luxurious wedding accessories is from the phone, but desktop traffic still makes up 40% of those visits. This shows that though the site right now has only been optimized for mobile, there needs to be extra attention spent for desktop users as well. Now we're back in dynamic heat maps, but instead of staying on a click heat map, we're going to switch to a scroll heat map. This is going to show us how far down the page people scrolled. We're looking for the effective fold or the place where 50% of visitors scrolled. As we look down, it is really high up on the page. This means that all of the content below this point, including the majority of the products, aren't being seen by your visitors. Isn't helping people make the decision to buy. So we're going to scroll back up to the top, and if you go into device, you can click on phone, and this will show you it in a mobile device. So what we're seeing now are how mobile users scroll. I would expect them to scroll more so than desktop. So let's go again and find that effective fold. It's a little bit lower on the page than the desktop view, but it's not much lower. Again, that means all of the content below this point is not helping you sell your products. I have to stress though, that the lack of scrolling doesn't mean that people aren't willing to scroll. It means that the current layout, especially as content up top, isn't encouraging them to keep scrolling. So let's go back to the desktop view. If we go back into the click heat map, we can see where people are clicking. I'm turning precise interactions on so we can see each click on this heat map. As we can see with the hero image, there's not a lot of clicking going on. Remember, this hero image is actually linked, but no one would know that. Because we do know that you get a large chunk of traffic from desktop, you need to update the homepage to a more modern template that showcases a horizontal image with a call to action button. Look for photos that better represent your products. Right now, the vertical hero image shows an up-close image of a bowl, but your visitors wouldn't know that it's a bowl just looking at it. At first glance, it still looks like a piece of jewelry rather than a bowl. Let's look at the sidebar for a second. We're still on desktop view, and we have to remember people don't scroll. Instead, they're utilizing your sidebar navigation. Group your products into collections and feature them on your top-level navigation with drop-downs to sub-collections to simplify your navigation. For your desktop version in particular, test moving the main navigation to the top of the page rather than the side. Now we're going to segment this back down to phone. Though mobile represents the majority of traffic, let's look at how they interact with your hamburger menu. There is some interaction with your hamburger menu, but it's not overly engaging. People who are looking at your site from a mobile device are going into your hamburger menu, which is great, but they're still not scrolling through it. Again, simplifying this with top-level collections are going to make it easy for your visitor, even if they don't want to scroll. I know we've covered a lot of ground here today, but as we've seen with visitor behavior, there's so much opportunity for this Wix website. To recap this website analysis of luxurious wedding accessories, 1. Remove the pop-up. Use a poll instead for more effective email collection. Look at your session recordings to access that new or returning visitor data. 2. Don't apply all of your website changes to your desktop view. Make sure there's a mobile-friendly version and a version for desktop traffic. Use the dashboard to learn more about the traffic and evaluate as you go. Don't forget to use dynamic heat maps to give you even more detail into the evaluation as you make more changes. 3. Simplify your navigation and update your hero image. Make it a clear horizontal image with a call to action button. Now is a great time for this Wix website to use visitor behavior to make improvements that impress both first-time and returning visitors. You can find us online at luckyorange.com. I've included a link below outlining the easy steps to installing Lucky Orange on your Wix website. To watch more website analysis like this one, be sure to click on the subscribe button below.